And we are in game number 1, guys. Welcome everyone to the first one. We're gonna catch up. There we go. We're completely live right now. And this means that, thankfully, we won't be affected, or we shouldn't be affected by the out-of-sync issues. So fingers crossed, everything's going to go without a hitch. We won't have the issues that have been plaguing the sets we've been casting for the last couple days. Here's Cousin Daniel, Mame's Cast and Survivalist, so that's nice. Yeah, it's good. And I think this is probably going to be the closest one. We took some time to evaluate each series and hopefully pick the one that's going to be the highest quality, but it's not going to feature the most well-known players, of course. It's going to be closer to the middle seeds. There we go. So yeah, there are no all-stars here, but whatever. Yucatan still can't decide whether I like or dislike this map. I like to play quite a bit. To cast it, it's kind of like 1v1 Black Forest. Kind of like Terranova Duo Cenotes as well, where it's pretty easy to ult, so it's usually going to result in more turly games. But to play, it's very nice. There's a lot of extra resources as well. And I felt like this was one of the best looking maps from the original game maps included into the game. But anyway, at least the pawns aren't in your woodline. Well, for the time being, it seems like we do have some pawns over here, but they might not be worth pursuing as there is only one shorefish on this one. And I imagine each pawn's going to have just the one shorefish, right? So unless you have like more than one pawn together and then the shorefish are facing the same direction, probably not going to be worth pursuing that. What's coming in already for Tulendeena down the south, and you gotta love Rmcoo's name over here. He's got a frog emote. Nice. Or emoji. Question of the day, is Rmcoo gonna stonewall half the map? Well, he should, right? For the matchup, we have Burgundians for Rmcoo and Tulendeena's playing with Mongols. That means the red player will benefit greatly from the extra hunting by getting 40% faster working hunters. We get on top of that for Rmcoo. The extra HP, unlike cavalry hussars, step lancer line units, as well as faster attacking cavalry archer units, and for the team bonus extra line of sight and scout line units as well. Meanwhile, Rmcoo will get a discount on eco upgrades that he gets 1H earlier. He gets access to the cavalier upgrade 1H earlier for a 50% discount from the stable, as every stable technology is going to be affected by that. And then in addition to that, Burgundians will also have 25% higher attack on gunpowder units, while for the team bonus, relics will generate food in addition to gold. This can be quite the fast castle for red and full wall 2. He's going up on 21 villagers. Doesn't seem enough usually, but with Mongols it might just suffice. Taking a look at the resources right now, and he is actually quite high. He's going to finish collecting this deer very soon. I imagine by the time he gets the market and the blacksmith up, or a stable and the blacksmith up, he should already get enough food, right? And Rmcoo, he's gone up on 19 workers, so he could potentially go up to the castle age, but only if he tanks his economy. AKA by going for a market and selling everything he's got to get the resources to go up, but it seems like it's going to be pressure instead. He's got a stable coming up, kind of on the side. Usually you don't really care about the stable coming up kind of on the back of your base versus in front of your base because of the mobility of the units. However, because we do have plenty of wood and water over here, that will result in a more, well, it's going to be less straightforward, right? A more convoluted way into his opponent's base. Meanwhile, Tulendeena is already on his way to the castle age. This is not good for Rmcoo, though. What's going on? He will go for full. Ah, man, I don't know. On this map, against Mongols, when they have free booming, well, as much as you can boom in the Dark Age, that is. Damn. Going field boom and scouts. Yeah, not the biggest fan of it. And thankfully, because we are casting this live, you can actually make use of the match command as well. True. will just finish building for Rmcoo up in the north. And towards the right hand side, he already closed the walls up as well. I think this might be open. I think it's actually open. Oh no, it's not open. There is one palm tree here. Alright. Burgundians in general are awkward here. The eco upgrades don't really benefit you as much since you're not farming. There is that. There is also the fact that Burgundians, you would probably want to play this one towards the late game, where Mongols, with a free economy over here, a safe economy over here, are going to shine as well. And I'm not really sure. I guess if he played this one as arena and he tried to fast castle potentially, I don't know, perhaps, maybe that would have worked better. Certainly, you know, Burgundians are... And you don't necessarily need to play them towards the late game. Actually, they do get a very nice power spike in the castlage, and they actually kind of taper off in the later stages of the game. But we have seen them be a very strong civilization on maps like Arena. So if you play them as if this was Arena, then maybe it would have been better, as Mongols wouldn't be quite as good in something like that. But yeah, first pick as well. It seems kind of rough. Extra TC already on the way. Tulendeena second TC. Shouldn't be the last one he goes for, as he's got almost enough resources to go for the third TC. Tulendeena has Gujaras, could have been great as well. How many herdables do we have here? I know that there's plenty of hunting. I don't remember what the situation for herding is on this map. I think it's good, right? I think I saw at the very beginning of the game somebody bring like, yeah, a crap ton of turkeys into their base. So yeah, I guess Gujaras would have been a very respectable civilization over here, where they have 8 turkeys. And I'm not really sure how many he took already. How many he harvested already. Like 10? Sounds about right. We have a few over here as well for Tulendeena. So the 30C is already up for the red player as well. That means that he should be able to get significantly ahead in villager count very soon. He's got all 3 TCs working, so the 2 worker lead for Rmcoo obviously won't really hold over here for much longer, especially as Rmcoo's going after the castle age and cannot keep on producing vills. Or 20? I don't know. It seems like it's probably 10 perhaps, because he's been collecting from the deer as well, right? If he was collecting just from turkeys and he still had 8, I guess maybe that could have been a lot more. Regardless, Rmcoo went for 4 scouts this game, and so far he's not really been able to do too much with any of them. 4 TCs on the way for Tulendeena, so he's going full boom over here, and this will be a late game full Mongol push coming Rmcoo's way very soon from Tulendeena with fully upgraded Mangodai. Some very strong siege. And Rmcoo is to play this one in the later stages of the game. I don't think he's going to have the tools to counter that. What do we see usually from Burgundians? We see Cavalier in the castle age. Well, that's not going to be a thing over here. He's gotten to the castle age so much later. I guess he could have tried to go for it, as opposed to going for the extra TCs, because it seems to me like that's probably what's going to yield the best chances of him taking game number 1, because if he just tries to go for economy after getting to the castle age so much later compared to Tulendeena, who has not been putting pressure and was quite clearly going for economy himself, Rmcoo's just going to be playing catch up here, and you can see already Tulendeena's managed to get a 16 worker lead over Rmcoo, so by the time the TCs come up, by the time Rmcoo is able to queue these up, and that's not going to be too easy, right? He needs to go for extra farms and whatnot. Tulendeena is already going to be probably on a like 20 villager lead. So making a play for economy over here seems like not the right choice for Rmcoo, and even though it was going to be tough for him to even make a play for full aggression, I think it was probably going to be the best choice for him. So yeah, regardless, what else do we see for Burgundians? Monks, right? Cavalier, Gunpowder. None of that's really going to work against Mongols in the later stages of the game. Not even Paladin, right? Cheap Paladin, it's not going to work. I have seen Mangudai completely obliterate full Persian Paladin armies. Full Persian Paladin armies in the past. Just so you get an idea, in Persians, they do have 2 bonus damage against any archer type units, which the Mangudai are, if I'm not mistaken, and they just don't stand a chance. So a full army of fully upgraded Mangudai will shred almost anything, unless you're fighting against camel archers, perhaps. Maybe Gulam, Eldorado Eagle Warrior, something like that. I don't think there's too much else that you'll be able to go for that's going to counter the Mangudai. Perhaps Elephant Archers, I guess. Even though I haven't seen the matchup, I would imagine the Elephant Archers' tankiness is probably enough. But none of those things will be available to Rmcoo, so it seems like we are just seeing both these players boom into what seems to be a pretty certain late game situation that almost anyone will be able to predict. And Tulendeena's already been collecting some stones, so we'll see the first castle come up in a moment. Which means the first few Mangudai coming out in a moment. Oh, by the way, before I forget it, I meant to do this. And actually I did kind of forget. Sorry about that. We need to include the logo of the tournament. Let me bring that one up. Okay. Got it? Yeah, there we go. Warlords. I think that's good, ain't it? I think that's good, yeah. Anyway. Monastery for Tulendeena. And he should be on his way to the Imperial Age very soon. He's got already a castle on the way, so that'll facilitate clicking up to the Imperial Age in terms of building requirements. And Rmcoo did manage to get a 50 C up, so he might be able to catch up in worker count if Tulendeena does not go for any extra TCs himself. The problem is that he's going for it so much later. But if you take a look at the gather economy time so far, Tulendeena's been able to amass a full hour and 20 minutes lead, which should result in a crap ton of extra resources, basically. Over 2k. Pretty good eco upgrades coming in for Tulendeena as well. He just got handcart. He's kind of lacking heavy plow right now compared to Rmcoo. But Rmcoo's also, at this point in time, lacking a handcart compared to Tulendeena. Do Miss Red losing a villager to a boar? It seems so. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly where though. That's kind of awkward though, and something that you're not really expecting to see at this level. What are these guys again? I think these are both like 1800, 1700, right? Hey, Killer Carnicle. Welcome. Now making Mangudai not starting the production seems like a mistake. 1800. It's fine. He's going up to the Imperial Age and he's got a second castle coming up, so production is gonna be a little bit quicker once he gets the second castle. Rmcoo's going for a forward castle. This one, we know as spectators, that's going to crumble very soon after Tulendeena gets to the Imperial Age and he'll be able to start pumping trebs. And yeah, he's going for some Mangudai right now. It's not too bad. Usually we see Mongols in a situation like this go for all the upgrades before they go for the actual units. Nice conversion over there for Rmcoo. Like, if you're not under pressure, right? You do not need the numbers right now. Usually you prioritize the upgrades and then you start going for the units later. In any other game, you usually, in any other game situation where you do need army, you usually go for the numbers first and then for the upgrades. But this is fine. You should have the third castle coming up in a moment as well. So that'll increase his production potential by 50% already. Rmcoo's a clown, so 3 does maybe lower. Or higher, depending on how you look at it. Hi, Whistler. Think it's more like 2k plus. You know, that is the thing about these players. in the 1800 ELO range. It's so hard to really know what their true scale is like. And we have seen that in players like Oladushek in the past, where they are able to take on 2K plus players. So I guess ELO is probably not going to be that accurate. Seems like kind of like a weird position to find yourself in. When you get to 1800, 1700, you probably don't have quite as many opponents anymore, so you probably end up facing a lot of extra 2K players and a lot of extra 1600 players. And the 1600 player, you're gonna dominate. The 2K player, probably not, but it's going to help you get better. And it's going to take some time for you to get to 2K because you don't get quite as many 2K players, I guess. But yeah. Chemistry's coming up, conscription's coming up for Tulendeena. He's got husbandry, thumb ring, as well as padded archer armor too. And with all 3 castles, he's managed to get 2 trebuchets out already. He's got 1 more trebuchet on the way. There we go. So this castle's going down. Rmcoo gets to the Imperial Age, but that's not a nice welcome. I'll still get trapped down here. Tulendeena should be in a much better spot. He's going for Elite Mangudai right now as well. Besides Elite Mangudai, he's missing still Leather Arch Armor and Parthian Tactics. Okay, so he's going for Parthian Tactics right now, and I think that's going to... Oh, he's missing Bloodlines too. So Bloodlines, and that's it, right? He's just finished researching Elite Mangudai. Yeah, so basically he just needs Leather Arch Armor and Bloodlines, and these will be fully upgraded as well. He's got Husbandry, he's just researched it as well, so it's just 2 upgrades away from having fully upgraded Mangudai. And Rmcoo's starting to go for Cavalier. He's got a Paladin upgrade on the way. He's got Plate, Bard, and Armor, but doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. With the 4th castle on the way, Tulendeena's production potential is going to increase by 33%, and these Mangudai will start growing in numbers substantially. Once we get to 40 plus, 60 plus, Tulendeena's not really going to fear anything Rmcoo's got to play with. No Gunpowder, no Paladin, no nothing, no Monks. We already saw the Monks go down from Rmcoo before he was able to get too many conversions at all. And with the stables going down, I don't think Rmcoo will have too much left to produce with. He's going for extra stables on the back. But Tulendeena's getting very close to the critical mass of Mangudai that he needs to go forward fearless. Paladin was being researched apparently on one of these back stables, I guess, but he's just finished researching it just before the final stable goes down at the front. And take a look at this. It's just filled with choke points. Rmcoo's base, that is. So the Mangudai are not really going to fear the Paladin. And once again, if he can get to about 60 or so fully upgraded Elite Mangudai, he's going for Bloodlines finally. He won't really have to care about the Paladin anymore. I have seen Paladin from Persians completely surround the Mangudai and still get absolutely cleaned up. Oh crap, okay, that's going to spoil things a little bit, but you can imagine what the result was going to be after we got to the Imperial Age in this situation, right? With Tulendeena looking so much stronger right now, I imagine this is going to be a 1-0 set. For now, favoring the red player, and game number 2 is going to begin. I imagine very shortly we're gonna see if Rmcoo can get an equalizer or not. He goes woof as well. Hi. Mado. Welcome, you guys. Hope you're looking forward to the qualifiers. Warlords is coming in hot on the heels of Red Bull Wallow Legacy, so the action doesn't stop. And thankfully, because this tournament we're gonna be casting everything live, shouldn't be affected by the out of sync issues. I think Rmcoo does Flemish Revolution and Clows too. Seems about right. There we go, the GG's coming up, and we knew that that was going to be the case, right? 1-0 in favor of Tulendeena. Let's take a look at the achievements before hopping out and checking what we get for game number 2. So for military, we'll see first off a KD that favors Tulendeena by quite a bit, about 5-2. For the economy, instead, we have a stronger economy for Tulendeena, collecting about 3,800 extra resources. And for society, there's a lot of extra economy over here for Rmcoo towards the end of the game. He ended up going higher than Tulendeena in villager count, but unfortunately was not going to suffice for him to do much of anything. He ended up taking the most villager losses, of course, and this came in a little bit too late. If you take a look at the worker count for Tulendeena, right, it was so much higher for so much longer in the game, so no wonder Rmcoo ended up struggling over here. And that's it for game number 1. Let's go back. There we go, and welcome you guys then to game number 2. This best of 3 series. Rmcoo is playing with Turks indeed, and Tulendeena is playing with Gujaras. Indeed. Our competitors didn't know. Oh, for the what was the name of it? The trivia thing. All I can think of right now is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Jeopardy! There we go. That one. I probably wouldn't have known if you had asked me which civilization gets the cheapest Hazar. No. But when you mention Gujaras in the sentence, it makes sense. So I probably would have failed that one miserably. Anyway. Gujaras versus Turks. We are expecting Turks to be significantly better over here. Tulendeena, playing with Gujaras, will have the ability to garrison herdables inside the mill, which will produce food, and he's managed to get 7 so far. It's going to start with 2 additional berry bushes. There we go. Rmcoo with Turks instead is going to have a myriad of bonuses, from faster work in gold miners, to free chemistry, to a discount on gunpowder upgrades, to extra HP on gunpowder units, to free like every Hazar upgrades, as well as extra armor on those units, and for the team bonus, faster producing gunpowder units. They can be an incredibly strong civilization. Now Tulendeena is going up already on 24 workers. Rmcoo is going to go up on 27. So Tulendeena is going to go for a straight fast castle, while Rmcoo is going for a fast castle drop, which does require a few extra villagers, since you do need to start collecting some of the stone, right? So he will go up right now, 27 villagers, like 24 plus 3, right, for the stone miners. And it shouldn't be too much later that he gets to the castle age, probably just a minute and a few extra seconds, I guess. Can is the important thing, since Berbers and Magyars are always cheaper. Yes. Let's see. Still on the way. Blacksmith should be on his way to the castle age very soon. Yeah, and Rmcoo. Rmcoo will just fast castle drop. And I imagine relics, this is often the case in these situations, will probably not be quite as hotly contested compared to a more standard arena game, where instead of having a 4 castle dropped onto you, you do end up fighting over the relics, right? So we will see those, some scouts come out, I imagine, for Tulendeena, so that could prove difficult for Rmcoo to play against if he does want to go for a castle. So instead he is probably going to end up going for a castle back home as opposed to a castle drop forward. And I guess this is mostly because Tulendeena scouts coming out will end up giving him map control, and it would be too risky for Rmcoo to go forward. Hey Turnip! Welcome back as well. Oh guys, yesterday actually, yeah, you need some context for this. Avocados went up in price substantially, like not even close. It was awful. In the span of 1 month, they went up threefold. They went from 800 pesos, so about, let's say, 250 a kilogram, right? What am I talking about? That's more like 350. Like $350 per kilogram. They went up to 2,600. So about $10 a kilogram. It was awful. And yesterday my flatmate actually, when coming back from work, managed to find some avocados at only 1,000 pesos. So we got some. And they are giant. I actually took a picture. I'm going to upload that to my Instagram later today. Probably to Twitter and Facebook as well. So you can see the size of the thing. It's really big. I think one alone was about 800 grams or so. They are massive. We had half yesterday and there was so much of it. Love it. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Being able to find some for less than half the price. That was fantastic. So in the end, Rmcoo will go forward though. I am not the biggest fan of this, but to be fair, Tulendeena did not go for the cavalry units I thought he was going to go. I thought he was going to try to get some scouts out in order to get map control and potentially collect the relics, but no. And potentially prevent the forward castle, right? But no, he's only now starting to go for some Shrivamsha riders. He's got camels coming out. And Rmcoo already gets the light cavalry upgrade for free. He's got spearmen over here and a bunch of villagers coming forward. So the villagers over here will put a lot of extra pressure on the units from Tulendeena. So we'll see the castle come up over here. One villager is going down for the blue player, but if he can get the castle up, it might not make too much of a difference. And ideally, Rmcoo wants to quick wall this to make sure that he does not get pushed away from here, but it might not be necessary because there's only one camel left over here for Tulendeena. And he'll most likely end up... Or actually, Rmcoo will most likely end up getting the castle up. Are you sure you didn't get a melon? Kind of looks like it. Those are massive, so love them. Yeah, and the castle's coming up for sure. Even with the conversions over here, even with the 4 villagers over here coming up from the red player. Come on, no, don't do this to me. Okay, we keep on going. I thought for a moment over there that the out-of-sync issue was affecting us in live games too. But there we go, the castle comes up! And Rmcoo ended up losing 6 villagers in that exchange, but he does end up getting a few villagers down himself over here, utilizing the castle as well. That's going to be 6 to 6 villagers. Actually, a 7th villager goes down for Tulendeena, and that's going to leave Rmcoo in a better position, assuming that both players stick to 1 TC. Rmcoo should be better off. However, he's gotten a lot of extra idle TC time, and the villager count is still higher for Tulendeena despite taking the most villager losses. At this point in time, you can expect to see the Janissaries come out, of course. We have the first few already out. 2 Janissaries as a matter of fact, and he'll try to breach through. Meanwhile, Tulendeena is just going to try to bank on the Shrivamsha riders. After all, they do have their agility stat that would allow them to dodge some of the shots over here. So we'll see what we get. Turkish castle drop on arena. Have I seen this one before? I don't think so. This is a very unique, out-of-the-box strategy that I have never seen in arena. It's as rare as in Portuguese feiterias. Passing feiteria. Here we go. Janissaries are coming in. We have some of the Shrivamshas already. Garrison inside the stable. He's gotta be careful. I think he does have 2 stables. His production is not quite as good though. Oh, and that's great! Rmcoo's targeting the middle right away, so he'll take the herdables out. Fantastic. He can steal these, by the way. Bring them back home for free resources. Which I'm very sure he would appreciate. And he's got some of the Janissaries going for. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Remember that, yeah, the Shrivamsha riders with their agility should be able to take on small numbers of Janissaries. Yeah, check this out! No damage coming out from the Janissaries at all, and they'll get cleaned up. Even if we have some camels over here, the Janissaries still get completely wiped. Not quite. Not quite. The camels do end up doing some good damage over there. We see only 2 Janissaries go down, and Rmcoo brings a few extra into the mix right away. And having to go for camels over here in addition to Janissaries is proving too difficult for Rmcoo. He cannot go for both things and villagers at the same time. With only 7 food workers, right? There we go. He's getting all the herdables. Nice. But yeah, it's what allowed him in the end to sustain some of his army. If he only had the Janissaries, he would have gotten cleaned up. So the camels did make sense in the end. They were the right play. And now he'll start putting pressure against the TC. If not now, very soon. And with this TC down, Tulendeena won't really have much in terms of defenses anymore. He's got no fortifications. No castles, no towers, just a TC. No siege coming out. Not to say that siege would actually work in this situation. It most definitely wouldn't. But yeah. Daniel thought it was a best of 1-on-1. Argo Lucho to Neo. It's a good thing we didn't choose that one. Yeah. There we go. The stable goes down over here. Srivanshi Riders pop out. Cannot really do too much of anything now that we have the camels, of course, for Rmcoo. And now, what do we have next? Is he going to go after the Siege Workshop or the TC? If he goes after the TC, he would benefit from going from the north side as opposed to from the east side, so that he does not risk taking a mangonel shot. Yeah, there we go. The stable goes down, and now it's very important for Rmcoo to keep on putting pressure. There is another monastery on the back for Tulendeena, so it's going to try and make a play for monks, although it seems like it's a little bit too late right now. And it seems like this should be the equalizer, at the very least. If Rmcoo plays his cards right, should be able to equalize the series, right? We have a lot of Srivanshi Riders for the red player. Yes, 10. But take a look. We have 6 camels over here, and Rmcoo should be able to hold on just fine, even against the Srivanshi Riders. There's a second TC on the way for Rmcoo too, so he might be able to catch up in work account sometime soon. Tulen should have added more monks instantly, convert the camels, and then attack with the Srivanshi. That would have been really good. Yes. I'm not really sure if he was expecting to see the camels. Perhaps that's why he didn't go for monks initially, but as soon as he saw the first 2 camels over here clean up the Srivanshis up in the north, I think that would still have been timely for him to start making a play for monks. But it might be too late over here. Now we'll see. It seems like Tulendeena's gonna try. What is he gonna try and do? Is he gonna try and flank? I don't think he'll be able to do. There's a castle over here. Unless he goes from... So maybe he can wait until Rmcoo goes further forward and then try to flank from the side. But the thing is, if he does that, he'll end up losing the TC. And even if he cleaned up the military from Rmcoo, he would still be left on the back foot. So I'm not really sure what the plan is over here, but it doesn't seem like Tulendeena's got too many chances in this game. So now getting bloodlines. He's got husbandry. Counter-attack? Yeah. If he had some petards, perhaps. Boy, this is a beautiful game for Rmcoo, and this is his element, of course. He's playing an arena. This is the map he feels most likely the most comfortable in. So you were saying earlier, maybe Rmcoo's real elo is lower? Well, you know, on arena, I guess Tulendeena's elo is going to be lower compared to the Crown. So game number 3 is probably going to favor Tulendeena still, but Rmcoo is dominating an arena, and here he comes. Tulendeena's going for the final engagement. There we go. And the Janissaries are not even attacking. They're not even trying. They're waiting. I think they were probably waiting until the agility ran out, but just having the castle target the... Yeah, just having the castle target the Srivanshi Riders, he just bailed. And then he was able to start attacking afterwards. So Tulendeena calls a GG after he gets completely cleaned up. We were expecting this to be the case. It was definitely worth a shot, of course, for the red player. But yeah, it's going to be 1-1. We'll jump into game number 3. to see what it is that we get for that one. Who moves on to the next stage? But yeah, Rmcoo ends up getting a close to 3 to 2 KD ratio in the end of the game. We'll see for economy, a stronger economy for Tulendeena, collecting about 600 extra resources, but did not make much of a difference against Rmcoo at all, because of the huge pressure we had from the bull player. For Society, higher worker count for Rmcoo. I think it was the faster player to... No. Tulendeena was actually faster to the cast. Yeah, that's right. He did go out with 3 less villagers. So yeah, but this did not make too much of a difference, right? No extra TCs, no nothing. So well done. Rmcoo, 1. Tulendeena, 1. There we are. Game number 3 is here. And it is going to be Franks versus Chinese. No Bulgarians, Chinese for Tulendeena. This is very interesting. This is very interesting because you are expecting to see Bulgarians, and getting Chinese over here will show us if this civilization can be good on this map. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be good. They do start with their extra villages. They do have a stronger economy after all, and they do have whatever unit you might want to go for in the fuel age and the castle age available to them. Sure, they are not going to scale the best in the Imperial Age with, you know, with no access to Paladin or Hussar in terms of mobility, but they do get heavy camels, they do get arbalesters, a bunch of goodies in the Imperial Age, and early on they're going to be pretty strong, so I guess we'll find out. For anybody who might not be familiar with the civilizations, Rmcoo with Franks will get cheaper castles. Extra HP on stable line units, actually, what am I talking about? On cavalry type units starting from the Fuel Age onwards, as well as faster working foragers. And for the team bonus, we'll see for Franks also. Beautiful. Oh, they get free farm upgrades before I forget, and then for the team bonus, they'll also get 2 extra line of sight and 9 line units. Tulendeena with Chinese does begin with 3 extra villages, but 200 less food and 50 less wood. This means that you usually end up getting a little bit of idle TC time, as you cannot immediately queue a villager at the very beginning. So you go for loom, then you, after you manage to get enough to queue a villager, only then you go for one. So you do end up getting about... The usual stat for Chinese is about 23 seconds of idle TC time at the very least, sometimes up to 27, 29 seconds. So 17 seconds of idle TC time over here for Tulendeena is nothing short of amazing. Besides that, Chinese also get 5 extra line of sight and 5 extra population support from the TCs. Cheaper upgrades, 10, 15, and 20% cheaper in the Feudal Castle and Imperial Ages. And for the most part, that's it. Team bonus for Chinese will give them... what was the team bonus actually for Chinese? The team bonus is something that I have not really been talking about too much in the last couple of weeks, so it's kind of started to fade a little bit. But they do get the farms, right? 25, is it 25% extra food on farms, or is it I think 10% extra food on farms, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which is good. It's not going to be quite as good as the free farm upgrades from Franks, but it's going to offset for it a little bit. There's 1 extra bonus for Chinese regarding demolition rafts, ships, and heavy demolition ships, but that's not relevant here. So yeah, yeah, 25% would be something for sure. Just 10%. So we'll see Tulendeena actually be the first player to go after the center, where we have the majority of the wood available. And usually you're going to have 1 stone and 1 gold close to the center as well, which means that you're usually able to go for towers, right? If you go for the 1 tower over here from the red player, that could be really good. He will be able to protect, like the tower over here will be able to protect the lumberjacks, will be able to protect the gold miners. Tower over here will be able to protect stone miners, the lumberjacks as well, but because he's been collecting from the left hand side, most likely going to be the case either here or here. This could also be good to protect or potentially prevent any tower jobs from coming up. village is here already. Rmcoo, Tulendeena get there about the same time. In the end, Tulendeena did go up to about 23 seconds of idle TC time. That is not too bad. And now we'll see Rmcoo going for a stable and probably a blacksmith soon. So he can upgrade these scouts as well. But it's going to be full field over here, baby. No fast castles, no stone walls. Rmcoo will certainly want to get some sort of defense over here up as we see some palisade walls come in. But yeah. And there we go, stables up as well for Tulendeena, and both these players got up at about the same time, just 3 seconds of difference. There we go. Scouts already coming up for Rmcoo, but he's not going forward for the time being, just trying to get the walls up. He's using the scouts for defense. He's just trying to prevent Tulendeena from coming forward and sniping the villagers before the walls complete. That is so unlike what most other players will play this like. Usually, you just go for the scouts and start sending them forward and try to find damage, but this time around, Rmcoo's trying to prevent any damage. He's trying to prevent taking any damage from Tulendeena's push. Yeah, I'm not too sure that's the best choice for him. Yeah, and Tulendeena's got a little bit of extra idle TC time for sure. So Rmcoo's done a better job at that. Beautiful, extra scouts coming out for Tulendeena, so he's not giving up on it. It's going to be important for defense because now that Rmcoo is completely walled off, he's going to start sending these scouts forward. Finally, he's got 7 compared to only 4 from Tulendeena, and even though Tulendeena cannot come in and start doing damage around Rmcoo's base, he will need the extra scouts in order to prevent Rmcoo from doing too much damage. Now it's the red player's turn to play defensive, and that's really good. He ends up getting a spearman over here, getting some free hits. And in the end, Rmcoo does end up taking the spearman down. He's got 4 scouts left versus 3 over here. Military count is neck and neck right now. Ganji's dominating Tom. I would imagine that would be the case, yes. So I'm kind of glad right now in retrospect that we picked this one. Oh! Rmcoo! Dude, use your scouts! He stood ground over there for so long. He ended up taking too many losses, way more than he needed to. And Tulendeena, well, with the spearman over here, will be able to defend himself just fine. And all of a sudden, Rmcoo's lead is kind of gone. You know what else is kind of gone? Tulendeena's villager lead. With all the extra idle TC time he's gotten, now we have the same working count for both these players. And if we take a look at gather economy time, it's still a little bit higher for Tulendeena, I imagine, because of the villager lead that he benefited from earlier in the game. But I don't think this is going to keep on growing in favor of Tulendeena. Most likely, this is going to result in this is going to stay consistent, right? So 18 minutes of extra gathering economy time for Tulendeena, and that's going to be about it. Both these players should be able to go up to the castle age very soon.
Hey.
Nice. Yeah, and wheelbarrow is coming in right now for Tulendeena. So that's going to cause him to fall behind the villager count a little bit more, although it's going to pay off in the end. Rmcoo doesn't have it right now. Seems like Tulendeena is going to try and use the market over here to try and balance his economy. Yeah, Rmcoo already has a market and does so. faster than Tulendeena, so he's already going up. Rooting for Arbase? Hey, John. Arbase is such a popular and beloved member of the community. When you went to Heidelberg, I imagine you probably were able to meet a lot of other people you probably already knew from Twitch, right? Arbase? Let me know. Sounds like it should be the case. Okay, so it's finally on the way for Tulendeena. About 40 seconds later compared to Rmcoo, so we'll see some knights coming in from the blue player. Something that's going to be kind of a struggle for blue here is the potential for camels for Tulendeena. We have a second stable coming up already for the red player, so production's going to be quite good. In Rmcoo, he's got the second stable coming out right now as well, so it's going to be knights for him. That's the only thing he can go for really from the stable. That's going to make sense in the castle age, and Tulendeena should be able to counter that pretty easily. It was kind of difficult since no one knows faces and we didn't have gamer tags or something. Oh, tags would have been good actually. That would have been good if somebody would have put like a stack of tags. You know, at the door of the bar or the castle as well, and then people could put their their Twitch tags. T90 saw him and said to his fiance, "Oh my god, I think that's Arbase," then bashfully has to take a photo with him. Sounds about right. I talked to a couple guys, but there were a bunch of others that I recognized from Twitch/Discord that I didn't know that they were there. Right. Yeah, oh man, I'm hoping that I'll be able to make it for the next one. Anyway, second TC's on the way for Tulendeena and for Rmcoo. Bold plays their TCs close to the center of the map as well. And there's a 4 siege workshop coming out for Tulendeena. So he's got camels. Now he's gonna start having some siege. He's got knights on the way as well. Oh. Once again, Kim just debated me. Monastery coming out for both players right now. They seem to be mirroring each other. And this is very interesting because Tulendeena was trying to make a play for siege and then he decided to go for the monastery instead before Rmcoo actually went for his own monastery. This is a very, very uneventful Atacama game for what the standard is for this map. It's just taking so long for players to put pressure up. So far, we have gotten a single villager kill from Rmcoo. He is getting ahead though. An economy by a little bit. And despite the fact that he's got a lot of extra idle TC time, this is basically from not having gone for wheelbarrow and getting the TC up, I think, a little bit earlier. Not the best though. It's producing only from 1 TC right now. And then for the most part, he'll focus on producing knights, which can be pretty rough. He needs to get some pikemen over here into the mix. Or the monks, of course. Monks are gonna be good as well, but right now he's got just one and he's got the second one on the way. Villagers coming in over here to get the walls up behind the palisades, and he's going to make it on time? I think not. As we have 3 groups of units coming up over there, and there we go, the camps are coming in, the knights are over there as well. We'll see a villager go down from Rmcoo. We might see 2 villagers go down. That was very close, but Tulendeena gets pushed away by the knights. On the scale bar, the armor's coming out right now for the red players, so we are still 1 upgrade away from what I consider to be the bare minimum with +2/+2. Especially against the knights over here, he wants to keep the camels healthy. 2 monks for the red player as well, so the same for both guys. They're a monk on the way for Tulendeena as well. So whatever conversions Rmcoo might be able to get against Tulendeena, Tulendeena should be able to get back as well. Would you have 4 TCs for Rmcoo? Yes, he has the third and 4 TCs. So he's basically just turned this into arena. Oh, it's over chopped up in the north though. If he does not pay attention to this and Tulendeena eventually finds it, that could be really, really bad for Rmcoo. There we go. Conversion's coming up. He cannot really connect these, so some of the monks go down. A 4 castles coming out from Tulendeena. Rmcoo's been collecting stone quite heavily as well, but he does not have anywhere near enough resources to go for it just yet. Tulendeena's looking great. There's a defensive castle coming up over here. Counter 1 from Rmcoo, but he cannot place the foundation because of Tulendeena's units. He tanked his economy. He absolutely tanked his economy trying to buy the resources to get the castle up over there. But in the end, he cannot place the foundation. He cannot really fight Tulendeena's units with this current army composition. We are left in a position where Tulendeena is looking much stronger compared to Rmcoo. Not only is the castle already up, but he's managed to get a much better trade. He's got 18 versus 5 military units. And the worker count, despite the fact that Rmcoo is on 2 additional TCs compared to Tulendeena, is barely higher for the wool player. Just 3 extra villagers. The castle position for Rmcoo is not the best either. As soon as he gets breached over here, the rest of his base is going to be pretty exposed. Sure, the TCs will help. But if the castle was inside this base, in front of his main TC, or in between 2 TCs over here, that would be much, much better for him to defend. As he wouldn't have to garrison his villagers quite as much right now. Given that he's going to be defending himself only with TCs, he'll garrison the TCs and he's going to end up getting a lot of vital economy because of it. And there we go. Knights are coming in. Camels are coming in. He cannot really stick around the TCs for too long, so he just snipes a few villagers and bails. But that results in a lot of vital villager time for Rmcoo. Is any of these players streaming their point of view, by the way? I'm curious. Another castle on the way for Tulendeena. And Rmcoo has sent some of these knights forward in order to... all of his knights forward, actually. That is the entirety of his army right now. He's just got 1 defensive monk and that's about it. So... second castle's on the way for Rmcoo. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. But yeah, these knights are not really doing too much. They do end up destroying the gate, but... we see a swift reaction from Tulendeena, bring the camels over. 1 villager goes down. Not enough damage. Certainly not worth losing 4 knights over a single villager. Beautiful. And the 3rd TC is on the way for Tulendeena right now as well. Let me take a look at something, by the way. Welcome, is John. Let me take a look at the custom bot name. For whatever reason, does not seem to be working right now. What is going on? Let's try. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. Imperial H is on the way for Rmcoo though. What is Imperial H going to do for him? Well, getting traps and cleaning out these castles will be great, but I don't know if he's got any means to defend those trebuchets. Now the Tulendeenas, he's got basically no opposition. He's massing a scary army. So even if Rmcoo was able to get some traps out, I think Tulendeena should be in a position to just dive in and take the traps down before they can get to do too much. Interestingly enough, the red player does not seem to be particularly interested in going up to the Imperial Leech at all. Instead, he's just going for full rams, which most likely will suffice. Do you still use the screen drawing software at all? I used it earlier today for the tower. Not too much right now because there are some things that I need to fix about it. And I actually did this to myself because for Red Bull Warlords Legacy I wanted to use it more, so I changed all the settings to utilize it from the tablets straight without having to use hotkeys from the keyboard. But that caused some issues that I need to fix now. And the system that I used to set up the hotkeys did not really work too well with the tablet, so I basically need to reset everything. And you know what? Now that's very convenient that you mentioned that now, Ace, because my next item in my to-do list for work is fixing the annotations and integrating them into the stream better once again. So that should be coming out very soon, hopefully. If today's stream is less than 6 hours long, I think that should be fixed already for tomorrow. For tomorrow's stream, hopefully. Anyway, it's fantastic. Tulendeena's doing such a good job over here. Taking the castles down. They've mentioned it somewhere. Yeah, in the interview with Masmora. I was actually surprised to see that. There we go. Castle's going down. Is it though? It's not going down, but a lot of villagers will crumble over here for Rmcoo, trying to keep the castle up. Oh man, the EKV is nasty right now. Tulendeena's managed to get 46 villagers. Yeah, that was not great for Rmcoo at all. That was not good whatsoever. And we have the trebuchet over here, but that's expected because Rmcoo doesn't really have the means to protect these. Tulendeena is just going to dive in, right? He's got some rounds over here, so the trebuchet is the gunner, and Tulendeena will be able to click out to the Imperial Leech finally. But at this point in time, the game is so one-sided right now that it doesn't seem like it's going to make much of a difference at all anymore. We have over twice the population for Tulendeena compared to Rmcoo. And, well, the blue player basically has a fully idle economy here. What is this? Or 40% of his economy is idle? And then the rest is completely exposed on the right-hand side, so he just goes on to call it GG in Tulendeena. Takes the series with a final score of 2-1. Moving on to the round of 64, not the round of 128. This is my bad, by the way. We'll see what we have left for the next series to cover. Before doing so, let's take a look at the achievements. We'll see a very nice KD for Tulendeena of about 5-4. If we take a look at economy, we have a stronger economy for Tulendeena as well for society. A much higher worker count for Tulendeena. Not only the max villager count, but even the final villager count over here was actually the same as the max villager count, which is amazing. Let's go back.